Now, we've been getting a lot of mail on certain topics like F1 and the Geneva Motor Show, and we thought it'd be a perfect time to get Editor-in-Chief Adil on board to shed some light on them. Now, of course, one of the most pertinent questions has to do with F1 and the step nose. A lot of viewers have been writing in talking about how ugly it looks. Well, Adil, what do you think? Does it serve a purpose?
2012 F1 is the year of the ugly F1 car, the ugly Grand Prix car, and everything has got to do with the step nose. The step nose is in line with the engineers and the designers' attempts to cater to the wording of the regulations, which now wants different sort of a height for the pedals for the driver's feet, insulated away from the axle line to give them a lot more safety space across, and also they need to work with that and also have the aerodynamics right, because at the end of the day any engineer worth his salt would go and strive for that nth degree of aerodynamic efficiency, and in that, if so be it, the car looks ugly. But let's see, if 9 teams, 10 teams out of 11 or 12 have gone across for this ugly stuff to gain their aerodynamic efficiency, and it's only McLaren fighting the battle for beauty and speed. We need to wait for the first couple of Grand Prix to know how this will pan out. But yes, everyone can rest assured that there is going to be many ugly cars doing the winning this year. So in that sort of sense, prepare to be offended, but at the end of the day, if it makes better racing, well, the engineers can always have the beauticians come in next year.
Of course, while we are on the topic of F1, we caught up with Mercedes AMG Petronas driver Nico Rosberg, who took us through his steed for this year's F1 season, the W03.
This year there are several major changes to last year. One of them especially is the front part here. This area is not allowed to be any higher than 55 centimeters from the ground due to safety reasons, because if I impact with a car in front, that really reduces the risk of catapulting over him. Then, however, as soon as you get to this part, it's allowed to build the car a little bit higher. And so straight away the designers have used that possibility, because it makes the space under the car here much more large to be able to increase the airflow, and that's just better aerodynamically. So unfortunately it doesn't look great, but that's the fastest way to build the car. Then going a little bit further back, one important difference is also the wheelbase. We have a much longer car this year, and that's also opened up new aerodynamic possibilities, because it's just there's a longer space to work with the airflow and everything. So that's a whole different ballgame. Finally, a very, very important change is that we're not allowed to use the exhaust gases to blow into the diffuser, because last year that made a lot of downforce on the rear end, especially in slow speed corners. So we had incredible traction out of the corners. They've taken that possibility away. We now have to put the exhaust much further forward on the car, and that's going to make it much more difficult to drive also this year, because on traction there's a little bit less grip and you need to control it better, and that makes it very tough also on tire wear. You know, we have to be very, very cautious on traction, so it's going to be quite exciting.
Now, of course, another burning question that we've been getting, of course, has to do with the 6 world champions on the grid for the 2012 calendar. Adil, what do you think? Is this going to be a recipe for a worldwide media frenzy?
Never in the history of F1 have we had 6 world champions with a combined total of 15 world championships. This will need to be watched. Sebastian Vettel, the youngest world champion and the youngest double world champion, he's got to do quite a lot, because a lot of the Red Bull strengths from last year, the blown diffuser and whatnot, has been nullified. So the Red Bull start off on a much more level playing field. But let's not delude ourselves, they still continue to be the class of the field. Fernando Alonso, another double world champion, he has got a lot to prove, and there's a lot riding on Ferrari. It's not about Alonso, it's about Ferrari giving him a car to do the business. I think the same holds true if you take into account 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher. He needs a car under him to really do his stuff. Then we got Jenson Button and Hamilton, one each, as well as the returning Kimi Raikkonen. Hamilton Button and Raikkonen, when they what you call lock horns with the likes of Vettel, Alonso and Schumacher, the recipe is always going to be great. If these 6 world champions and plus their other teammates cram into the top 10, I think it will be a fantastic statement of intent for Formula One. And I think at this sort of year, you need to let the action do the talking rather than anything else.
Well, Adil, moving on from F1 to the Geneva Motor Show and specifically the Tata Megapixel. Now, a lot of people have been writing in wondering whether this car is really going to be able to give us 100 kilometers to the liter. What is the technology behind it and when can we see it on Indian roads?
What you see here in the Megapixel is a theme taken by Tata Motors, in fact, via its engineering centers in UK and in India, plus also is the first expression of its Tata Advanced Design philosophy. The new Tata Advanced Design Studios, all of this thing has combined to give a state-of-the-art contemporary small car for the coming decade. The Pixel from last year's Geneva show has now grown in size, in stature, is added more, that's why it's Megapixel. But if you care to think about it, a lot of the essence of the Pixel is there, including that very radical steering system where the rear wheel comes out, so you have a fantastically small turning circle. You have a vehicle which doesn't spew more than 10 or 20 grams per kilometer of CO2, which is such a big advantage for this car. Very frugal design and manufacturing build and a lot of usable space. The Megapixel is an ideas car. It is going to share and influence a lot of thought in a direction which no other Indian company has gone ahead and done.